Part 28. Exploring the World, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Pian Hai. Chapter 271. Yashi saw a familiar shadow on the waterfall, but in the blink of an eye, the shadow disappeared in front of him. So Yashi stopped where he was, pointed forward and said, "Hey, did you notice the shadow on it just now? Why do I feel that it looks a bit similar to the Stone King we saw on Mars? I don't mean that the stone statue of the King of Mars came here to take over the mission. The shadow just now is similar in shape but different in spirit. It seems to be an imitation of the King of Heaven. You don't need to explain yourself even if you really put off the mission. I think it's normal. I'm not crazy, thank you. Where is the red-haired brother? I have been waiting for so long just to wait for him to show up. I thought it was the red-haired brother just now." The further you go inside, the more you can feel that a special order has been established inside, and completely new rules have been re-established. It should have something to do with heaven. Do the remnants of heaven want to re-establish a small heaven here? But, it doesn't look like this. Yashi's expression was a little confused. "I'm afraid the truth is beyond my guess." He walked up the mountain step by step, but when he was walking on the mountainside, he was stunned for a moment, and then looked at the mountain aside. In other words, it is a fallen heavenly palace. It seems that my feeling is indeed correct. The space here has been distorted. If you don't pay attention, you won't even know where you are going. Even this hiking trail is the same. The space here is not as tightly connected as the space outside. It takes powerful force to break the fixed space. Yashi gently stretched out a finger and touched the road under his feet. It was really just a bump, and the road underneath collapsed. It's not that the mountains collapsed. The mountains are still there very well. It's that the space was made unstable by this light touch. This, the ancestral porcelain touching technique, right? Laughing, I never thought that how could it be so weak, how could it be so weak that it was in a restricted area of life? Taoist priest wicked, sneer JPG, you can try to walk in and see who is so weak there is no way to pass through the broken feeling of this space. Just take a gentle step forward and your body and head will be separated directly. I don't know where my body will fall. Taoist priest wicked, I've really seen a ghost. How did he walk up steadily in this situation? He walked for such a long time. If he hadn't pointed it out, the Taoist wouldn't even be able to see it. It was so disturbing to such an extent. It's so scary, it's a serious problem, it's a breath of cold air, global warming. Yashi took his hand back, and then looked at the space that had been broken by himself and could not maintain stability. He waved his hand gently and restored it to its original appearance. Everyone has seen it. The spatial structure here has completely changed. So, although this heavenly palace seems very close, if you really want to touch it, it's just a stone's throw away. This kind of environment. Yashi shook his head. My previous guess can be overturned. This is definitely not about building a small heaven, but it feels like a blockade. It's strange. No matter what kind of existence is inside Nantianmen, it is a living life. For ordinary life at a normal level, this kind of space partition can be said to block both the people outside and the people inside. People. You couldn't have locked yourself in, right? After thinking for a while, he couldn't figure it out, so Yashi looked at the camera and pointed into the distance and said, "This heavenly palace is not here. Even if I cross it, I will lose some of the fun of exploration. So we'll keep moving forward. Dion within a Dion, losing the fun of exploration, but it's not impossible to live with. Isn't this typical? Walking on broken glass at high altitudes, most people have already sent it, but because Yeshen didn't know what magic he used, he locked the glass that was about to be scattered, and lit up a cigarette as if walking on the ground. JPG. Finally admitted that I am not a life at a normal level. In the process of walking up, Yashi saw many phantoms, or imitations of glimpses. All in all, this shrine is becoming more and more interesting. Yashi finally climbed the mountain. The moment his feet left the mountain road, the entire mountain road really started to collapse like a piece of broken glass. Bang! From the lens of the live broadcast room, the almost continuous mountain climbing road began to collapse at the same moment, and pieces of space debris fell everywhere in the Shengsu. This spectacular and somewhat terrifying change took many people's breath away. Jin Mobe, sure enough, when Brother Ye stepped on the mountain road, the power around him should have directly locked these spaces, so everything was like a normal mountain, but when he left. Although this level is difficult to achieve, it does not mean that he has become an immortal on behalf of Baidu. I do not admit that this person has become an immortal. Kick the door. Do I need your approval? Stop making a scene for yourself and just wait for death, okay? In your universe, lifespan is like being chopped a few times, not as long as the big taro in the ancient city of Jingzhou. Do I need your approval to become an immortal? Suggest to look in the mirror. Tomcat, their microcosm has very obvious flaws, so they can't live forever, just come out. Yashi felt the space collapsing behind him and didn't care, he didn't even look back. Just looking at the Nan Tianmen getting closer and closer, he couldn't help but complain. It is said that if you look at the mountain, you will die. I'm afraid that this Nan Tianmen is the real problem. I haven't noticed the layer of space connected to the Nan Tianmen until now. I'm beginning to doubt whether this thing is in Shengsu or even in Baidu. Yashi shook his head. But when I got here, I could feel that the spiritual energy in Shengsu was becoming more and more abundant. There should be some immortal medicine or divine medicine nearby. Because this fragrance is obviously coming from a medicine. I understand, we are going to meet Brother Red Hair. I only have one question, am I not watching the live broadcast? Why can I also smell the medicinal fragrance that Yeshen said? This is not right. Immersive watching of the live broadcast, what do you think? If you come early, you can also experience the luxurious mutation experience, no matter where you grow eyes or hands. Goosebumps, crawl for me. Yashi followed the smell of medicine and saw a clean and spiritual spring. And a peach was hanging above the spring. And next to the spring, there were some red hairs. Yashi raised his eyebrows and looked at the thing in front of him and said, "This is the legendary peaches. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond." Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 272. Peach. Virtuous Taoist priest, my flat peach, this is an experienced flat peach. Why did I fall into the ruins of the gods? I said that I have never found it. It turns out that I have entered the restricted area of life. Poor red-haired brother, every time I see red hair all over the ground, but where exactly it is, it seems I can never find it. Yeshi. He originally wanted to say something when he looked up at the live broadcast room, but he was really embarrassed by this group of netizens, so he spread his hands and said, "You are thinking a little too much. As long as you carefully look at the divine spring in front of you when posting barrages, you should be able to find it. Isn't there a person under the water?" Yeshen, I'm speechless. 1,000 miles away, look, it's floating up. Virtuous Taoist priest, crying JPG, this is the sacred spring that the Taoist lost, and it was ruined by this thing. What a good thing, it's actually used for bathing. I haven't even taken a dip yet. I only have one thing to say about the people upstairs, fellow Taoist, please stay. Yeshi glanced at the live broadcast room and then at the thing in front of him. Hey, I discovered something. Your crow's mouth is really smart. I just finished calling you Taoist friends over there to please stay, and the real master really appeared here. Although there is only one piece, it can still be regarded as the real owner. Are you really making trouble with Shen Gongbeo? Yeshi nodded. Then he grabbed a magic sword like flowing water from his side and waved it forward gently. The water from these sacred springs was transferred to the sky, revealing a leg underneath, and a delirious red hair. This wave is really too jumpy, and a space jumping machine like mine is a bit awkward. Please tell me, why does Shen Gongbeo appear here? I'm not surprised that he does exist. Alegyo, please explain the scene in front of you in a rigorous manner. This is one of Shen Gongbeo's legs. After Yeshi led Shen Quan away, he really didn't want to bring it into his own world. So I used my fairy power to dig a pond nearby, threw all the bath water in, and then looked at the red hair and the one under it, which was stuck in a place similar to a spring. Leg. This scene is so weird that I can't bear to watch it anymore. Yeshi held the flat peach in his hand and said so. And without the suppression of Shen Quan, the curse on Hung Mao couldn't help but revive. It slowly stood up in the empty pool. When its eyes looked at Ye, it only saw a piece of yellow sand blowing by. Yeshi walked forward, although his body was facing forward. But there was still a body holding a flat peach. This 2-for-1 spell is eye-opening. Let me go. What is this, a clone technique? No, 3 bodies appeared. Understood, 1 breath can transform the 3 pure things. Tai Shanglajun, no. One of Yeshi's clones restrained Hung Mao, and the other clone used magic to lift the leg. As a result, I used all my strength and found that the leg was as if it was nailed and couldn't be pulled out at all. After pulling it out a little, the long water from the divine spring submerged the empty pool again. Yeshi. The world seems to be suddenly out of place. There is something wrong with you, not with me, let alone with the world. Hung Mao was locked in a fixed area by Yeshi with sword light, and the 2 clones merged into Yeshi's body again. He was very satisfied with the experiment he had just conducted. Now I'm going to study what's going on with Shen Gongbeo's left leg. This area of water is drained again. Yeshi took a few glances at the spring. In mythology, it is said that Shen Gongbeo was used to fill the sea. I didn't expect this legend to be confirmed here. However, there is only one thing that I am confused about. Why is there only half a leg here? Also, where is the North Sea recorded in ancient mythology? Is it in this small universe, or is the sea connected to the real universe, the North Sea? A series of questions almost confused netizens watching the live broadcast. Yeshi squatted down and studied for a long time, but still could not overcome the obstacle in his heart and entered through the spring. And he also discovered that it was impossible to pull out the left leg just relying on his current ability, so he could only stand up and looked at Hong Mao beside him. By the way, this red-haired brother. Yeshi threw the flat peach into the arms of the red-haired monster who was struggling with pain on his face. He said in a deep voice. Did you pick this flat peach? After taking it off, I found that I couldn't control the curse on myself, so I used the divine spring to suppress it, trying to stay awake. It's a pity that this curse is too vicious. You have suppressed it for too long, and now that you have achieved your goal, you can no longer suppress it? The red-haired monster was among a mass of red hair. His face could not be seen clearly, but he could feel the extreme pain all over him. When it heard Yeshi's words, it endured the pain from the sword energy outside and nodded. The same is true for Yeshi. Okay. Take this peach. I will temporarily suppress the red-haired curse on you. But I can't help you get rid of this curse. I just checked and found that your curse has no source. The source has been cut off, so I can only help you suppress it first. Do you want to stay here or continue to go up? The red-haired monster moved its body, and it felt a strong pain from the sword. It opened its mouth, and the sound was not like a human voice, but Yeshi heard it very clearly. Go. Okay. Yeshi nodded. Then he directly pulled out the sword formation around it. He took another look at the left leg of Shen Gongbeo, who was filling the North Sea below, and began to recall the system's progress reminder just now. It seems that the place of Shengsu and the small universe of Baidu are indeed closely related to the heavenly court. I am now more and more curious about the scene after the south gate of heaven. I won't really let me see any mythological figures, will I? Yashi touched his chin and walked alone in front, thinking so. The red-haired monster was walking alone behind, filled with unspeakable sadness. Its long red hair fell to the ground from time to time, forming a mottled path. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 273. Alas, this wave of loneliness really makes a hard-hearted person like me feel sad. This is usually the case. However, Yeshen actually said that he could not completely eradicate this curse. This is too scary. So the question is, why was he infected with this curse? It's so weird. There were different opinions in the live broadcast room. Yeshi was still thinking about Shen Gongbeo, whose body was dismembered and filling the eyes of the North Sea, and began to ponder the legend of this part of the myth. Actually, the scent of the elixir I smelled before was not this flat peach. Yeshi explained to the camera while walking forward. I can feel that the place where this fairy spirit energy comes from is not far away, but because of the irregularity and overlap of space, I still can't tell where this fairy medicine comes from. Judging from the current situation, it is not so much that a rule has been changed here, but rather that the law of space has been redefined. For example, if someone with great supernatural powers says that this place cannot become a spirit, then after he speaks, this area will really not be able to become a spirit. No one is allowed to become a spirit after the founding of the People's Republic of China. And all the special features of Shengsu originate from here. The great magical power similar to the words and the law has made corresponding regulations, and this new rule conflicts with the laws of the planet Baidu. Probably this is the wonderful divine ruins we see now. Tisk. Yeshi looked at the five-color altar that appeared among the glass fragments in the space, as well as the small fish flapping in a small depression, as well as the occasional flashes of heavenly soldiers and generals, and mummies wearing clothes from different eras. All kinds of things from different times and different spaces are gathered in the same place, and they are constantly intersecting and interacting. When I saw the peach tree standing in the sea of clouds, Yeshi seemed to react suddenly. I suddenly understood why the rules here in Shengsu are so strange. I'm afraid they are not some remnants of heaven, but because of Shen Gongbeo. Why is the topic jumping so big? Did you know the secret? Because we were connected to it again, but we don't have the secret. Details. Originally, this time I came to Nantianmen. I didn't expect that Nantianmen is still far away, but I learned about the past of a mythical figure. Knock on the table, sit on the floor and wait slowly. It feels like some ancient secret is about to be revealed in front of us. Is it that the legendary Black Hand of the Baidu universe is finally about to appear, rub hands, etc.? What is Baidu universe? This is called Ziwei universe. Yeshi walked towards the peach tree above the sea of clouds. A clear voice rang in the live broadcast room and also in the Shengsu. It's a very simple thing. This place should not just be a fragment that fell from heaven. Anyone who has read mythology should be curious about how such a large continent has disappeared, and places like hibiscus trees, Jianmuo and Yugu have all disappeared without a trace. And Bihai, where Kunpeng is rumored to have been born, is nowhere to be found. Now it seems that these places are probably just like heaven, they are all in pieces. It seems that not only pieces of heaven fell here, but also fell into the North Sea. And it's a sea. In mythology, Shen Gongbeo's strength is not ordinary. Therefore, if you need to ensure that he does not escape from the eye of the sea, the best way is to weaken the power that distracts him. Judging from the fact that Shen Gongbeo only has one leg now, they did indeed do this. The strange spatial overlapping and non-overlapping state in the Shengsu now comes from Shen Gongbeo, who was suppressed under the eye of the Bihai Sea. This blockade of space was supposed to block Shengongbeo, but at one time, the world changed. A corner of the heaven and a corner of the North Sea fell at the same time, and then merged with the Baidu planet to form what we have now. No, the Baidu life forbidden zone. This can also explain why the remnants of heaven created a space barrier that they cannot cross. Yashi stopped after saying these words, and the transparent-looking red-haired monster behind him looked at the flat peach in his hand in great pain. While I was still thinking about what these peaches taste like, you actually figured out the ins and outs of Shengsu. Isn't this an immersive live broadcast? Could it be that what I see is different from what you see? Tomcat, wow, this speculation sounds very reasonable. I can go to other planets in the future and see if I can bump into similar things. How can you tell? Is it possible to conduct unscrupulous observations within this restricted area of life? This is not Baidu. Friendly reminder, Yeshen personally admitted that he has become an immortal. If you have any questions, you can wait until he becomes an immortal before asking. He also nodded after watching the text prompt box in front of him disappear. Sure enough, I am able to reach where I am today thanks to my unremitting efforts. Thinking of this, Yeshi took a step forward. He wanted to go and have a look next to this fairy plant of flat peach. However, at this moment, an unconscious beast roar sounded from behind Yeshi, followed by a thick, human-like and inhuman voice. I can't go back. Take the peaches with you. I will stay in Shengsu from now on. The curse in my body can be suppressed here. If I go back, I am afraid that the curse will still erupt. I can feel that the curse will erupt more violently every time it is suppressed. If I go back, this vicious curse will bring disaster. This, I feel so sympathetic instantly. It can't be helped, it is really dangerous. You remember when Yeshen went to Fengxian village, he was only one step away from becoming an immortal at that time, but he would be stained by the things in the red hair. If it were us, wouldn't it explode? Kick the door frame. You're overthinking. Brother Red Hair lost hair every day when he was on Blue Star and Mars, but I didn't see anyone else being cursed. Yeah, look at that peach, it's still like a spirit fetus, not stained with a speck of dust, shining brightly, making me want to eat it in one bite. White impermanence, this kind of curse, I should know something about it when Yeshen explores the underworld next time. I don't know the details, ask the living king of hell. Living king of hell, I don't know either, I'm just a mascot. 1,000 miles without staying. Wait, no, are you guys serious? We're just watching a live broadcast. Is there any need to make such a big deal? Why did the real king of hell come out? I always thought your ID was just a joke. I am God. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 274. When Yeshi was still thinking about whether to pack up the peach tree and move it to his own world, there were a bunch of poor, normal viewers watching the live broadcast in his live broadcast room who had lost their outlook on life. No matter how many people's jaws dropped and their eyes dropped, the live broadcast must continue. I always thought it was a netizen who cooperated with the performance, but it turned out that it was me who was acted in. Kick the door frame. This is normal. Are you looking for simple netizens in this live broadcast room? Then you are indeed too naive. Yang Xuanhuan, I remember, there was a supreme master? Yes, she was still communicating with the red-haired monster, and had no idea that the netizens in the live broadcast room had set off another mental storm, being mentally ill. After he communicated with the red-haired monster, he decided whether the red-haired monster would stay or not. It would also be easy to help him deliver a peach to Fengxian village. So Yeshi agreed. So under Yeshi's shocked eyes, the red-haired monster continued to return to the divine spring and hugged Shen Gongbao's thigh, or left leg. It really surprised Yeshi. This world is really not normal. Then when he took a look at the live broadcast room, he felt that it was even more abnormal, because everyone in the live broadcast room was checking various IDs, as if they were checking their ancestors for 8 generations. Yashi glanced at it and was surprised when he knew the whole story. Your reaction really makes me unable to answer. You haven't noticed anything about such an obvious thing before. But I am indeed very interested in the underworld you mentioned. It's just that I have visited several planets and I haven't seen the underworld, or anything related to the underworld. This matter can only be discussed later. Now let's go to the front to see if this flat peach tree is said to have fallen from the flat peach garden in heaven. It looks like it should be immortal root, but the immortal energy is a little lacking, and it looks like it's not yet cooked. You call this immature? Above the sea of clouds are the vast ruins of the heavenly palace, and in front of the ruins of the heavenly palace is a flat peach tree about 1,000 feet high. This peach tree has intertwined roots. The roots occasionally flash under the thick clouds, and you can still feel the surging vitality in it. The flat peaches hanging on the tree are surprisingly big, bigger than ordinary human brains. Each one is shining brightly, with a little starlight falling on it, and it is full of fairy spirit. Purple air rises from the tree roots, covering the entire lower end of the peach tree. The uppermost crown blocks the sky and the sun, but occasionally golden light still shines on the clouds. Zixia flows, spiritual energy overflows. From a distance, you can feel that this is some kind of extraordinary fairy cave. But in addition to this overflowing true immortal aura, there is also a very strong dangerous aura. Even in the live broadcast room, everyone felt the same way, as if they saw a wild beast crawling in the sea of clouds, waiting for them to suddenly devour them as soon as they stepped into the sea of clouds. This strong sense of crisis made everyone in the live broadcast room take a breath of air. Even those ghost-like creatures felt the chill radiating from their souls. Among them was the rabbit that was shouting to kill, kill, kill. It was stealing carrots to eat, but now it was looking at the live broadcast room with red eyes. The carrot in its hand fell off, and its whole body seemed to soften, and it sat down on the ground. It's broken. I feel a kind of danger that I haven't felt for a long time. This kind of danger is something that Brother Ye only felt before he was shielded, but after the shielding, I still feel this way. Then it should have been there. How terrifying. I can't sit still. Tomcat, let me tell you a scary story. I heard that there are monkeys in the peach garden. Tai Shanglajun, don't say this nonsense. Living king of hell, haha, this is impossible, it's just a dream. I believe you can feel that they are scared without me saying much, but, I am scared too. Yes, she naturally felt this threat, but as for what they said about monkeys. To be honest. Damn it, he thought it was possible. But the real monkey is different from the monkey processed by later generations of art, including the pig. Yes, she thought about it for a moment, and instead of retreating tactically, he heard the sound of the system. Ding, congratulations to the host for improving the exploration of the Baidu star map by 15%, and the overall progress is now 35%. Ding, congratulations to the host for unlocking the third puzzle piece of the Big Dipper. The reward is Immortal Peach Tree X1, Immortal Source X20, Flat Peach X10, Heavenly Forging Technique X1, Mysterious Fairy Sword X1, and Baidu Star Map Fragments X3. Big Dipper Illustrated Book, Immortal Peach Tree, Ruins of Heavenly Palace, Xuanhuan. The Immortal Peach Tree, it originally came from a peach orchard in heaven. However, after heaven collapsed and fell into Baidu, under the influence of different rules, it is no longer the original function of the peach tree. There is a great emperor's magic medicine that is widely rumored in Baidu, which can help him live a second life and extend his life for thousands of years. The ruins of the Tiangong in the peach garden fell together with this peach tree, and it is still unknown where the other fragments landed. Xuanhuan, young Xuanhuan, you don't have to worry too much. It's not that monkey, but a replica of that monkey. Even if it's just a replica, it has inherited his fierceness and murderous intent, and it's extremely difficult to deal with. Peach, eating it can improve your cultivation and increase your lifespan. Although it is one of the 3 most important mother plants in the heavenly court, it doesn't have the effect of becoming an immortal by using one peach before heavenly forging method. It can forge weapons in the heavenly court. Mysterious immortal sword. This is an extremely magical immortal sword. The specific effect is unknown at present. Yeshi listened to these prompts from the system and raised his eyebrows at the peach tree in the distance. He really didn't expect that the netizens' joke just now would come true. This peach garden is indeed full of monkeys. Yeshi took a step back, held his sword, and then got off the tool tiger, letting it stay aside and not move, so that he wouldn't have to go to the giant beast planet to fish for the white tiger later. In everyone's eyes, Yeshi, who was always calm and composed, held a water blue sword and then walked into the sea of clouds. Boom boom. The moment Yeshi stepped on it, the entire sea of clouds exploded. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 275. Yeshi held the Kingian sword and stepped on the sea of clouds. And this action seemed to have touched some mechanism, and the whole sea of clouds boiled instantly. The word boiling is not appropriate, because the scene in front of me is like the moment when popcorn explodes in a smaller scale, but in a larger scale, it is like mischief blooming in the desert. Yeshi, hey, why don't you be so exaggerated? The thick sea of clouds that originally sank into one piece scattered like fairy flowers. With a roar, the immortal flat peach tree shook, and a flat peach fell down. I only heard a Taoist priest holding a shovel in a dead man's tomb scream heartbreakingly, "Ah, the magic medicine of the Taoist. My baby. My flat peach." The flat peach fell into the sea of clouds, but when it fell, a furry arm caught a fallen peach, and then slowly stood up from the sea of clouds. The clouds all over the sky fell on the horizon like a fairy brocade in mythology. Some light clouds also fell on the branches of the immortal flat peach tree, and the rich essence of heaven and earth spread out. It turns out that this immortal peach tree is not rooted above the clouds, but in a tianke. Immortal light is like a vast galaxy, with immeasurable blood surging in it. The immortal pond is really a pool, and there is nothing superfluous in it. It is just immortal liquid that is rare in the world, and the innate essence is spread all over the bottom of the pond. The immortal liquid is really the flesh and bones of the living dead. However, there is not only the mutated immortal peach tree rooted in this fairy pond, but also a furry monkey. The monkey was lying on a branch in the pool, soaking in the innate fairy essence. At this time, he was holding a flat peach exuding fairy energy in his hand. However, when one hand appeared in the live broadcast room, those who were arguing, no matter what planet they were from, were dumbfounded. Baidu Lizhija, fight, fight, fight against the holy ape. Baidu Hongzhen, the hair is different, this is just white, I have never heard of a white Dozhan holy ape, is it because I have limited knowledge? Yunren is me, not necessarily, maybe albinism. Let's leave the world of mythology aside and talk about biochemistry, right? The explosion of sky clouds is not everything. The most important thing is that a ferocious aura from the ancient times suddenly swept across the world. Even the entire Baidu felt this monstrous ferocity. The rise of such ferocious flames directly shocked some people outside the live broadcast room. They seemed to have once again returned to the feeling of facing those terrifying creatures. The improved live broadcast blocking function could not prevent this horrific death. Feel. 99% of the people in the 10 worlds in the live broadcast room felt it. The shadow of death hangs over their heads. As soon as this monster stands up, changes will occur that will cause the world to collapse. I have such a strong feeling of danger, my God, it can't really be that monkey, right? I don't think so, the monkey shouldn't be here. There is really a monkey in Pantaoyuan I fought with me before and now I can climb it. I couldn't hold it any longer and peed. The hum, is it you upstairs? The feeling of other planets is not as intense as that of Baidu star. Although the entire Baidu is said to be huge, a truly powerful person can still breathe thousands of miles away. Therefore, anyone with a little bit of cultivation can capture the awakening breath of this white monkey. Not to mention those Holy Land families, they were frightened, especially when this extreme intention of killing came from Shengsu. They suddenly recalled the bad records. Could it be dark turmoil? At the same time, there were similar barrages in Yeshi's live broadcast room, but most of them were cryptic and refused to explain in detail. Is it just a monkey waking up with this kind of movement? So said an ancient world looking into a mirror. Opening next to it was Yeshi's live broadcast room. As a Baidu native, I would like to ask, what do you mean by monkey? Are you not referring to the fighting holy ape? But Baidu, no other monkey is so fierce. Kicks the doorframe, of course not, we are talking about the Monkey King. No, 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 don't you, Baidu world, even have rumors about the Monkey King. Are there really such inferior planets in the universe? Let me take a look. Why is it the Big Dipper? Is it the Big Dipper that brags about itself every day? Jiaman, you know how to be the protagonist, attract hatred. At this time, the real protagonist holds the Kingian sword and stands above the sea of clouds, remaining unmoved no matter how the wind and clouds surge outside. This monkey is really vicious. The CG used here is a bit too luxurious. Yeshi couldn't help but complain a few words, and then he saw the fairy sword inserted in the fairy pond. Strictly speaking, this sword was not a sword, but just a shadow. However, he only took a few curious glances and looked at Xuanhuan, who woke up in the fairy pond and gnawed on the peach. In such a dangerous situation, Yeshi still had the leisure to look up at the camera and said, although there is indeed a monkey under the peach tree. But it's not the monkey you think. This is one, Xuanhuan. Yeshi's voice was not loud, and it seemed even quieter in the roaring sea of clouds. However, no matter how loud the voice was, there was no way to cover up Yeshi's voice. And as he spoke, the whole world seemed to be silent for a moment, and those sounds like bombings became insignificant background sounds, and only Yeshi's slowly speaking voice became the protagonist of the world. Don't tell me, I really want to know why this monkey appeared here. If it was just a guess before, I can now be sure that there must be survivors in this corner of the ruins of the heavenly court. Just see what these survivors of the heavenly court look like. Yeshi held the sword horizontally, and the aqua-blue luster reflected on his face. The boundless ocean fell on the tip of the sword, and the faint fairy light lingered on the body of the sword. With a rumble, Xuanhuan stood up from the sea of clouds, and the clouds in the sky dissipated in an instant. Crack, crack. Xuanhuan walked towards Yeshi while chewing the peaches. When seeing this Xuanhuan appear with their own eyes, no one was not nervous. At this moment, they forgot to breathe like before, and some people even fainted because they were too involved and forgot to breathe. I'm not worried, I swear, I'm really not worried, but, is this really okay? Too scary, this monkey, as expected, all monkeys are scary, I haven't seen any ordinary monkeys. Roar. Xuanhuan took a bite of the peach and threw it away, and the wicked Taoist priest was so angry that he was pinching the zombie in the grave while escaping from the ghost soldiers, and he was still roaring. Kill him for me. Beat him to death. This is my treasure. How can there be such a wasteful monkey in this world, damn it? Of course, Yeshi didn't hear his heart-wrenching roar, beating his chest and stamping his feet, but just gently moved the magic sword in his hand. The sword makes a sound when it comes out, so it is called clear sound. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 276. This is a very slow movement, and it cannot be called slow. It is just the movement of lifting a sword and swinging it like an ordinary mortal. It was like seeing how convenient it was to swing the sword without any feeling of being against the enemy. It was a completely captured action that could be seen with the naked eye. Many people were sweating when they saw it. I'm really scared. I don't know who I'm scared of now, but I feel like I shouldn't worry about Yeshen no matter how much I worry, so who should I worry about? Xuanhuan. Filial piety. Classic. Then I am slightly worried about Yeshen, but you know, I am not worried about Yeshen intellectually, but emotionally I am worried about him. After I worry about him, my emotions start to taunt me again, saying that it is better to worry about me. Myself, crying. Touching head, you understand Yeshen. When Yeshi was using the sword swinging style, he took the time to glance at the barrage in the live broadcast room. He was really speechless when he saw the nonsensical barrage. Xuanhuan in front of him naturally noticed the sword Yeshi waved at him. He didn't care, but he didn't take it for granted. After all, he still had some strength to get here. But although Xuanhuan felt that Yeshi had some strength, he didn't expect it to be much, otherwise he would not have woken him up and would have left quietly. So its red hooves jumped up suddenly, shaking up the rules between heaven and earth, and rushed towards Yeshi with the wind and the remaining clouds. And Yeshi's seemingly slow sword also fell slowly. Compared with the speed seen by the eyes, the actual falling speed is more than 1,000,000 times faster, to the extent that people watching the live broadcast doubt their eyes. The roar of the beast rumbled, and from time to time, broken space fragments passed through it. Xuanhuan's body became holy, and a random movement was earth-shattering. Countless people looked at the unknown of Shengsu from different directions in Baidu and felt the blood energy soaring into the sky. This surging energy and majestic blood exploded, making people feel that an ancient divine ape from the ancient times was born like this. And once it is born, it will inevitably cause chaos in the world. The vast blood energy rushed towards the entire Baidu, and also rushed out of the Baidu. An indescribable feeling of horror spread to 10 worlds, 9 heavens, and 10 places. But Xuanhuan didn't rush over, and many netizens in the live broadcast room who were in a state of Schrodinger's worry were a little dumbfounded. The evil aura of the ancient ferocious beast spread out, and the blood energy as majestic as the sea was not fake, let alone the physical body that could last forever at a glance. But it's all in vain. Because Xuanhuan didn't rush over. By Vuchain, what a fast sword. Living king of hell, it shouldn't be called fast, and slow are parallel, but there is no feeling of time flowing in his sword moves. Yunran is me, do you mean instant? Aaleguo, you are thinking too much. It is just a literal meaning. Time does not flow through the sword. Yeshen is waving a sword, but there is no time in the sword. Guys, I don't have a brain, can you explain it more clearly? When some people still want to explain. But I found that there was no need to solve it. Because Yeshi's sword had already fallen, and when the opponent's mind and body moved, the sword fell. The Kingian sword carrying infinite fairy light is like a true spirit, standing on the stars high above, looking down at the world, and fixating its eyes on this monkey. The tip of the sword stopped on the monkey's head. Then click click click. What kind of tangible life was shattered in front of everyone's eyes? The demonic energy in Zhongxiao stopped, and the majestic blood essence energy that seemed to lift the sky suddenly fell down into the bottomless abyss. Xuanhuan is still running, it is still beating with the power of heaven and earth, its red hooves are already burning with flames. It's coming. Ah! It's dead. Yeshi looked slightly embarrassed when he saw Xuanhuan being split in half. He hissed, raised his sword, and sheathed it. Looking in front of me, looking at the camera, looking at the live broadcast room that was completely silent, and the effect was even scarier than clearing the screen. Well, I've become an immortal. A bit unsure of the power. I'm also going to ask why it is here. Yeshi reluctantly let go of the Kingian sword. Okay, that's it? Now we can go and take a look at this immortal peach tree that is completely different from the one in heaven. After saying that, Yashi turned his head and waved to the dumbfounded white tiger over there. I saw a flattering tiger face on the white tiger's face. The whole tiger body was lying on the ground, and the 4 tiger claws were also withdrawn on both sides. Boss. Beihu's voice is childish and delicate. If you were dating online, it would be the kind that thousands of people would be attracted to. Now, if you ignore the trembling in it, it sounds pretty good. It's just that this kind of trembling sounds too weird. Are you so scared? Yashi frowned slightly, then sat on Baihu's body, and felt that Baihu's body collapsed again, and the whole tiger's body shook uneasily. Before Yashi could continue speaking, Baihu regrouped and stood up energetically. I was just shocked by your powerful swordsmanship, boss. It's so awesome. Yashi was a little casual. It's okay. Come on, let's go take a look at this immortal peach tree. Baihu nodded repeatedly. In the live broadcast room, some people have gone from stupid to stupid. I am stupid. I'm not stupid, but I'm crazy. Excuse me, is there still a shortage of people in the underworld now? Can you take me with you? Baivuchain, I advise you not to come. I was beating the legs of Lord Yama just now with Lao He, but you know, Lord Yama, his heart just started beating again. Fanwuju, see someone alive. What on earth is going on? The previous appearance was so terrifying. I thought the monkey who wanted to destroy the world was just gone. Did I press fast forward or something? Yashi patted the tiger's head and casually covered the unlucky monkey that was broken in half with clouds. As for the corpse transformation after that, it has nothing to do with him. Then Yashi looked at the plant in front of him. Immortal peach tree. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 277. The live broadcast room was still full of disbelief, with crazy comments. The main reason was that the appearance of Xuanhuan was too cool. It felt like the slogan, even if I carry the heaven on my back and need to hold up the immortal peach tree with one hand, I am still invincible in the world. Just as it was shouted out, it was solved by others in one move. The contrast was simply pulled to the maximum, and the dramatic effect was also pulled to the maximum. It really made those who were still worried dumbfounded, and felt that the speed of change in the world was beyond their imagination. What is this wave called? Contrast. The world is like a tornado, you know what I mean. When I was in Baidu, I felt a wild beast's aura coming, but it didn't take long for it to come, and it was directly choked. I think this should not be the reason of the beast. Kick the doorframe, knock on the blackboard, I became an immortal. Yeshen personally admitted that he became an immortal. You know, in addition to this, although he exploded the star with one hand, he claimed that he was just an ordinary person. So do you understand the value of him not claiming to be an ordinary person but claiming to be an immortal? You don't understand. Kinlibulixing, it makes sense, I am convinced. The sea of clouds in front of him has returned to its original state. The sky is high and the land is vast, the clouds roll and the moon is bright, and it is so peaceful as if there has never been any fight. The immortal peach tree is a magical medicine. In theory, this kind of magical medicine can grow legs and run away, which is why the immortal medicine is difficult to catch. But now this immortal medicine is like being nailed in the fairy pond, and it dares not move at all. I think it should not be scared. As the white tiger walked forward, the white tiger's legs kept shaking, and the branches of the immortal peach tree also shook like a disease. At this moment, the tiger and the tree reached a consensus. Although the white tiger's legs were shaking, its upper body was as solid as a rock, which amazed the people who were broadcasting live. They had to sigh at the horror of this hunter. If it were you, you probably wouldn't do as well as this white tiger. What a tiger hero. Alas, this fairy pond has been bathed by that monkey, what a pity. Yashi shook his head and looked at the innate essence in the fairy pond with disdain. Evil Taoist, give it to me, I don't dislike it. This fairy pond should be formed by a holy spring in the heaven, and it is estimated that its original purpose was to irrigate the peach tree. I just don't know where this monkey came from. And this sword. This sword is just a shadow. Yashi originally came for the immortal peach tree, but when he saw the fairy sword in front of him, all his attention was focused on it. Shadow. Yashi flew up into the air, stepped into the void, pointed at the extraordinary sword and said. Before I approached, I felt that there was something extraordinary here. I didn't expect it to be this sword. This sword with such pure immortal energy is just the shadow of its original body reflected on the water of the immortal pond. An extraordinary thing. Xuanhuan, then I'll leave. You've already left, do you still expect to return? Just the shadow is so extraordinary, I wonder which legendary sword in mythology is the original body of this immortal sword. Yashi said this and sighed. Then he looked at the trembling immortal peach tree above his head. Just from the appearance, the immortal spirit is so abundant that ordinary cultivators feel refreshed after taking a breath, not to mention what would happen if they really ate a peach. Although this peach tree survived the fall from the heaven because it was rooted in the fairy pond, it doesn't have such a good environment as the heaven after all. I'm afraid it can't be like what is recorded in ancient mythology, that eating a peach can make you immortal. Now it can only increase your lifespan by 10,000 years. Sure enough, even if it is an immortal root, it will still be the same if there is not a good enough environment. It's difficult to evolve upward, and it's just a blink of an eye to degenerate downward. That's all, did you hear it? Did you hear it with your own ears? He said that it can only increase your lifespan by 10,000 years, that's all. The person upstairs is crazy, ignore him. Another crazy one, take him out. By the way, in the legend of your blue star, are there any supreme immortal roots and elixirs in the heaven? Immortal peach tree, you are amazing, you are arrogant, you can scold me now. The Monkey King in Journey to the West stole these peaches, right? Actually, when I was a kid watching TV shows, I wanted to try what these peaches tasted like. I didn't expect to have this kind of experience in Baidu. Not bad, let me try the taste. Yashi reached out to pick the peaches hanging on the branches. Then just as he reached out, the branches of the peach tree, which looked like the essence of millions of years of jade, quietly fell down a few times. And then a few peaches fell right into Yashi's hands. Will the red-haired brother fall into deep thought if he sees this scene? I don't know if it will fall into deep thought, but I really want to eat it. Kaka. Yashi took a bite of the peach. If you get close, you can actually feel the spiritual energy in it. After taking a bite, let alone, the immortal essence is so abundant that it can bloom. Well, this is the largest and best peach grown on the immortal peach tree. At the same time, Yashi has 3 others in his hand. While chewing the peach, Yashi looked at the camera and said, "Not bad, the taste is unexpectedly refreshing. I understand why the great sage wants to eat this peach. I have never eaten a peach that tastes so good before." Then Yashi casually threw one of the peaches to Behu. When everyone watched Behu swallow a peach full of spiritual energy, they were so stimulated that their brains were congested. Wow, I am so jealous that my back teeth are about to break. Hello, I am a dentist. For your current situation, I have the following treatment plans. Please choose. 1. Go to death directly. 2. It is recommended to restart. 3. See you in the next life. After eating the peach, Yashi nodded affirmatively, but it was a pity. This peach has no core. What a pity. I wanted to plant a few in my world. It's not bad to eat them as fruits occasionally. How about this? I still have 3 peaches here. Everyone can randomly guess what is behind the south gate of heaven. I will give a peach to the person who guesses correctly to try the taste. While Yashi was still talking, he felt that the immortal peach tree, which was originally rooted in the fairy pond as if it was nailed, was getting closer and closer to him, and even rubbed against him with its trunk. Then it sent the remaining peaches to Yeshi's hands. Yeshi, that's not necessary. Evil Taoist priest, wait, I'll go dig a few graves in the heaven now. The ancient graves will definitely guess what is behind the south gate of heaven. Wait for me, my peaches. The live broadcast room became more and more lively. Yeshi shrugged his shoulders and still did not choose to take the immortal peach tree away in person. But after leaving, he let the system take it away. Of course, he was not the kind of person who would pluck feathers from passing geese, so he still planted a small peach tree in the fairy pond. Then, Yeshi's world had one more kind of fruit. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 278. Yeshi walked on the top of the mountains. He took another look at the trembling immortal peach tree in his world and was speechless. The bronze divine vine really knows how to play. It doesn't dare to mess with anyone it can't beat, and it even shamelessly treats it like a licking vine, eating and drinking without saying anything. Now when you encounter someone you can't beat, you start to act like a bully and ask the immortal peach tree to leave a few peaches for it, otherwise you will be taught a lesson. Yeshi really saw a ghost. Why didn't he know that this bronze divine vine was so good at playing? However, when the immortal peach tree was threatened and did not dare to resist at all, Yeshi warned the other party, and then took back his consciousness. He continued to walk up inside the ruins. No matter how high the sky is today, I am afraid that the Nantian Gate is as far away as it is. Even in the constantly changing and broken space, the Nantian Gate will be further away than the sky. However, this fits the feeling of heaven in myths and legends. There's not a single living thing up here anymore. Yeshi stood there and looked down, but with just a casual glance, he calmed down. Because he saw the ancient coffin of a god floating in the mountains. A coffin. Some people actually choose to use this place as a burial place. This is not a good choice. Yeshi said these words when he saw the ancient coffin of the gods, but he did not stay long and continued to move upward. Looking up from here towards Nantianmen, it seems that it is within reach, but when I reach out and want to touch it, there is only a void. Of course, it was not Yeshi who raised his hand to touch the Nantian Gate, but those who had been somewhat bewitched by this almost immersive live broadcast and couldn't help but want to touch the mythical Tianmen. Yeshi seemed to be able to sense that many people wanted to touch him, so he said, "Although I have isolated the influence of high-level life radiation in the live broadcast room, this influence cannot be completely interrupted. So your attempt is because you were inspired by Nantianmen." Yeshi's voice was neither urgent nor slow, and his steps walking upward were neither urgent nor slow. However, with one step, it seemed like countless time spans had passed, and even the sky began to layer into layers. The magnificent red clouds filled the sky. And the Nantianman in the distance still stands there, eternally unchanged. But now, Yeshi could still see the blood-stained traces on the Nantian Gate, as well as the cracked spots on the Nantian Gate, which were enough to show that the heavenly court had experienced a war at that time. Yeshi was no longer standing on any entity at this time. In other words, even if the heaven has collapsed, Nantianman still has the aura that shocked the world. Therefore, ordinary life and even matter cannot exist near Nantianman at all. Although there are many movies and TV dramas that have been filmed in Nantianman. But there is still a huge gap between what humans imagine and what actually exists. The most important thing is not how grand or magnificent it is, but the majesty that radiates from the inside out. I can't feel the difference between this kind of description, but my body feels it, it is shaking, it actually wants to kneel down. I am stupid. Yes, I feel that I have a heartfelt feeling of respect for the Nantianman in front of me. Well, it seems that I have said this too many times, but this is really different now. In such a vast heaven, One can already see how frightening and submissive it is just from the Nantian gate, but how could such a heaven collapse? Tai Shanglajun, because heaven does not want to shock and surrender. Just when all kinds of arguments were going on in the live broadcast room, Yeshi saw a ladder to heaven. Hey, stop arguing, what's going on? Isn't the heaven actually broken? It's just that this is the place to go up, and now you are welcoming Yeshen? There was no ladder before, and there was nothing before. There should be nothing wrong with my memory, right? The heaven is hidden in the sea of clouds, but you can see the auspicious clouds and patterns on it. This noble and elegant ladder is getting longer and longer, just like the work of heaven. Gradually it fell from the sea of clouds to Yeshi's feet. There are really people in heaven. Yeshi raised his eyebrows, looking with some surprise at the ladder extending from Nantianmen to here. He looked at the live broadcast room and found that he had similar speculations, but Yeshi directly denied it. It's not what you think. This ladder was not built by anyone. It's because Nantianmen sensed my identity and this token, so they lowered the ladder to let me go up. Yeshi placed the Nantianmen in his hand in front of the camera. What a magical thing. It stands to reason that the time since Nantianmen fell is unknown. I don't know how long it has been, but it can still operate. Yeshi hesitated when he said this word, but still chose to continue. I can feel now that there is a voice calling me from the front. It's probably because I have become an immortal. In fact, according to the records of the heavenly court in mythology and legends, generally, when you become an immortal, you have to go to the heavenly court and report. I didn't go through this step before. Now the south heavenly gate or a voice in it is calling me to go quickly. Listen to the immortal class. When Yeshi said this, his eyes became more and more strange. It's incredible that it still maintains its functions now. Every time I listen to Yeshen talking, I feel disillusioned. Hey, you know this is mythology, this is the heavenly court, but your words are so scientific, it's very out of place. What cyberpunk heaven? That's not impossible, it should be very interesting. Ha 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 ha, I want to know more and more what exists behind the south heavenly gate. Tais Hanglajun, yes, I think so too. Tomcat, please don't scare me, are you really that person? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yu Pian Hai. Chapter 279. When Yeshi said that Nantianmen was calling him to become a member of the immortal class, not only was his tone a bit strange, but those who heard his words also seemed to be in a trance as if they could not understand human language. Actually, I'm not very interested in this matter. I just want to know why heaven fell in the first place, why the rules of the universe here are different from those of the outside world, and what exactly is behind the Nantian gate. Yeshi said this. Then he looked at the camera with a smile and said, after all, my main job is not to cultivate immortality. I am just an explorer doing live broadcasts. One thing to say, this sentence is really cool to me. I am God, who says no? Golden Mouse, are you really a god upstairs? So, under the gaze of everyone. Yeshi lifted his legs and walked onto the ladder. The patterns carved on the ladder are definitely not any that Yeshi has seen. They have a kind of spiritual aura, as if they would never appear in the world at all. As Yeshi moved forward step by step, the surrounding environment also changed abnormally. Looking down, the road back had disappeared without a trace. It seems that if you go to Nantianmen this time, you will never come back. Yeshi raised his eyebrows and said this with interest. If anyone else were to say this, I would definitely think that this kid was going to die, but today, it's going to be bad, Nantianmen is going to be doomed. Tai Shanglajun? A certain alien egg /U0026 white tiger, covering face and crying, I have been wronged for so long. Oops, when Yeshi said this, I was worried about Nantianman's future. Evil Luo Haicheng liked it? White Bone Dragon Pool liked it? 10,086 likes from Planet of Behemoths. Yeshi raised his head and was about to talk about the reasons for the changes in the surrounding environment. But he saw these barrages at a glance, and he couldn't help but speak. Don't slander me, okay? I'm not Conan or the protagonist of the novel. I will destroy wherever I go. Look, isn't Chengsu good? After he finished speaking, he only heard a rumbling sound, and something seemed to have collapsed inside the ruins. Yeshi frowned and took a look. It doesn't matter at all. It's just like the monkey's body fell. I didn't want to kill it in the first place. Who knew that it would be so exciting to appear on the scene and it could be solved with one move? I was prepared and almost attacked with all my strength. Almost. Rumble. Before the netizens in the live broadcast room could post the barrage, another voice boomed. Yeshi didn't even need to look over to know that the fairy pond in the sea of clouds had fallen because there was no immortal peach tree. Therefore, he looked at the silent live broadcast room and said, "This has nothing to do with me. Okay, you don't need to worry about such inconsequential things. You see what appears on both sides of this ladder is the legendary 33rd heaven. But because Nantianman or the entire heaven was seriously damaged, there is only an empty shell in the 33rd heaven. Look at this palace, it should be the legendary Taiwei Yuking Palace. Yunran is me, I am very cooperative when it comes to cooperating with your performance, kneel down, I want flat peaches." The first law of Yeshen's live broadcast room, whatever is denied is fact. Well said. Living king of hell, dead weight, I remember that the red-haired brothers seem to have taken away a wooden tower. Hell, where is that hell? I have been paying attention to this but I still can't find it. Bai Vuchain, ah, Lord Yama, you are finally dead, that's great. As Yeshi walked, he was still looking at the heavenly palaces on both sides, and even the goddesses of the old heaven reflected in them. However, after observing for a period of time, Yeshi was able to confirm that this ladder to heaven was also in a state of incomplete condition. Because there is no road above him. At this time, he just took a look at the live broadcast room and saw the living king of hell who had been playing the wooden tower hell repeatedly. He was slightly dazed before replying. "Oh, that ate hot hell? I forgot about it." But the red-haired brother does not have the aura of hell on his body, and if there is, it is very shallow. In fact, it's not important. There are already many dangers in Chengsu. There is no problem in adding an extra hell. Baidu Li's Hija? Peng Wei? The 8 heat hells don't matter. At most, the demons suppressed in the wooden tower hell come out, and I don't know if they can break out of the divine ruins. The most important thing right now is the damage to the Nantianman is too serious. I was asked to take the ladder to the sky when there was no way. Yeshi rubbed his eyebrows and pushed away the clouds in front of him, and the broken road blocked by it also appeared in front of everyone. This is clearly a broken road. It really can't be true anymore. Looking ahead from Yeshi's point of view, there was still a distance from Nantianman. However, it is only such a distance, but it is still so close. Fortunately, I came up. It would be unlucky for someone else to happily think that they have become immortals, but then they can't go up or go back down. Yeshi said this while standing on the ladder and looking down at Miao Miao Yunfan. Wait a minute, there are really no such unlucky people, right? Why did Yeshen say this? Watch the live broadcast yourself, what an unlucky kid. Yeshi said this casually, but he actually saw a few footprints in front of the broken road, but the footprints were only 3 steps. After 3 steps, it was not that Yeshi couldn't see them, but they were gone. There are really unlucky people out there. It seems that he has reached the threshold of becoming an immortal, so he came down the ladder to heaven, and he went up to the sky, but he got stuck here. Tisk, How miserable. Can't you continue going up? He is about to become an immortal, so he can't even go up to the Nantian gate? Tai Shanglajun, even the dead immortals who have become immortals cannot enter the Nantianmen, and neither can earth immortals, only heavenly immortals can. They can only take 3 steps. I am afraid they have just hit the threshold of earth immortals. Boss. Wait a minute, I don't understand. It's not that only heavenly immortals can enter the Nantianmen. Why can people who haven't become earthly immortals also climb the ladder to heaven? Kicking the doorframe, there are too many fools and not enough liars. Yes, she sighed. Climb the ladder to heaven. Why is it called the ladder to heaven? Even the immortals can go straight to the Nantian gate, so why do we need a ladder to heaven? Unclear. Yes, she did not continue to explain, but looked at the 3 footprints with a pity. It's so miserable. I'm trapped in this universe, and I'm about to become an immortal. I don't even have a lifespan of 10,000 years. I can only draw chestnuts from the fire, but I still failed. Think about the Earth immortal in Fengxian village. He could find the opportunity to become an immortal in 10,000 years. After Yeshi sighed, he took another look at the live broadcast room. I will tell you now why earthly immortals need ladders to heaven. Yeshi stepped out and walked in the void, but instead of making a footprint in the void, he stepped on an illusory ladder to heaven. This scene was so dreamy that many people couldn't help but wipe their eyes. No one who is not an immortal can reach the Nantian gate without climbing the ladder to heaven. It's just my first time here. I was invited to join the immortal class. It doesn't mean that I really have to walk up the stairs. After Yeshi said this, he actually spread his hands. In the blink of an eye, I skipped 7 or 8 steps and stepped on the ladder that was half illusion and half reality. Although this later ladder cannot be manifested, I can still use my immortal power to inspire what it was like before. You can take a look at it as you wish. Saying. Yeshi kept walking forward. Without taking a step forward, an illusory white jade ladder appeared at his feet. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 280. Who is so angry? It's me. Kicks the doorframe. You still say that I can attract hatred, but you don't even look at Yeshen. Such words make even a fanatical Yeshen fan like me feel a little uncomfortable. Kinli Buliaxing, it's different. If you attract hatred, you will be beaten to death. Yeshen attracts hatred. No, Yeshen shows his strength and others will be beaten to death in addition to being angry. I announce that Yeshen's number 1 loser in this live broadcast will be replaced. Then what year and month are you going to change to? I'm sad, you know, I'm sad for the 3 footprints immortals, but after thinking about it, I can't even be a corpse dismantling immortal, let alone the earth immortals. I'd better feel sorry for myself. Brother, yeah, you know how to hurt people the most. Those who almost became immortals with 3 footprints, you know the heart of a shrimp and a pig. Although Yeshi left the ladder to heaven, Nantianman's inspiration to him still never left. At the same time, the Nantianman token hanging on his waist was also shaking slightly. This token is not of the greatest use to him because he has already become an immortal. As for anyone, no matter whether they are human or not, as long as they hold this token, they can go to heaven. Yeshi also suddenly realized at this moment, he understood where the ancient legends of gods and immortals came from. He left not long ago. Yeshi was already very close to Nantianman. This time it was really close, not like running to death by looking at the mountain. But when I really came to the Nantianman, Yeshi, I found that his imagination of heaven was still a bit restrictive. Because the Nantianman in front of you is not so much a door as a small world. Of course, restrictive imagination is not limited to this. Yeshi raised his head and looked at something above the Nantian gate. Ding, congratulations to the host for improving the exploration of the Baidu star map by 29%, and the overall progress is now 64%. Ding, congratulations to the host for unlocking the 4th puzzle piece of the Big Dipper. The reward is 1 immortal book x1, 30 immortal sources, 1 immortal boat x1, 1x jeweling sending general technique, 1x Tongtian Ru, and 2x spy to star map fragments. Big Dipper illustrated book, Nantianmen, Killing Immortal Sword. Nantianmen is the entrance to the human world and the immortal world. The Xuxian sword, it is neither copper, nor iron, nor steel. It was once hidden at the foot of Mount Sumeru. Without the inversion of yin and yang, how can it not be tempered by water and fire? Just like the name, the Xuxian sword was inserted on the Nantian gate, leaving an indelible mark on it. Repaired damage. Friendly advice, don't touch. Tongtian Ru, the thing left behind by the owner of the killing immortal sword. The method of arresting spirits and sending generals, the art of arresting spirits and inviting gods. I heard it, stop reading poetry. Yashi said this in his heart when he heard the system's reminder, but the system still read out the entire content very responsibly. His eyes are slightly numb now. Before, he had been thinking that the abyss and heaven were at war. Why now, it doesn't look like this, but rather like a civil war. But yes, the few abyss that I saw that were made so miserable didn't look like they could arm wrestle with heaven. Yashi thought about it twice but still felt that something was wrong. After thinking about it some more, he found that there were quite a few things wrong with heaven. Yashi thought about why when he was at Sunstar, the two gatekeepers abandoned their duties when they saw him, and even gave him a Xuanhuan umbrella as a gift. I originally thought I had made a profit, but now it seems that the two heavenly kings may not have any extra power, otherwise they would not see Zizao prison deteriorating like this. There is too little information, and there are still many things I don't understand. Yashi did not continue thinking, but looked at what was in front of him. Nantianmen. The most famous entrance to the fairy world. Here at this time. But there is no one guarding it anymore, and it seems like anyone can enter. But no one except Yashi would have this illusion. The Nantianmen is not the white gate that everyone imagines, but is made of dark blue like glass, with a bright cover like precious jade, and the pillars are wrapped with golden scales and a red-bearded dragon that shines in the sun. Even if there is a murderous fairy sword inserted in it that will kill all the 9 heavens and 10 earths. But it still does not block its golden light, thousands of rolling red neon lights, thousands of auspicious air spraying purple mist, and a myriad of atmospheres. It really looks like an immortal family. Pity. No matter how magnificent it looks, this place is still dilapidated. Just looking inside along the Nantianmen, there seem to be several long bridges in the distance, with colorful feathers flying in the air and red-crested phoenixes hovering on the bridges. Well, the people in the live broadcast room were concentrating on it, and their whole minds were intoxicated with the appearance of the Nantian Gate, the ruins of the heavenly court. Then I heard Yeshi's faint sigh. At this time, the people who were so addicted to licking the screen suddenly woke up. But I saw. Yeshi raised his hand and pointed to the highest point of Nantian Gate. There is an immortal sword inserted there, which is almost invisible and very small compared to the majestic Nantianmen. When Yeshi pointed it out, no one even noticed, but they just devoted themselves wholeheartedly to the cause of licking Nantianmen. However, when Yeshi pointed out the Xuxian sword, everyone suddenly discovered. This Nantianmen is not as dust-free, magnificent, and flawless as I saw in my eyes. Not only was there a lot of blood on it, but there were even cracks on it, and on top, there was a fairy sword pressing down on the entire Nantianmen. Simple, but interesting. I just blinked, how come Nantianmen was like a battle? I'm dumbfounded. Many people couldn't help but take a breath, but they still stared at the fairy sword. After being attracted by Nantianmen, they were attracted by the sword of immortal execution, but this sword was not as easy to talk to as Nantianmen. Nantianmen can be watched by mortals. But the sword of immortal execution is not. It is immortal execution. In an instant, Countless people's eyes were bleeding, unable to open their eyes at all, and they made a sound of fear and pain, as if they had experienced unimaginable pain in just 1 second. Tais Hanglajun, don't look at it, this sword is called, Immortal Execution. One leaf covering the sky.